Hello friends. Welcome back to the 13th day of live art. This is Priya from Priya Arts Art Studio, where I teach art for all ages. I hope you're all staying safe and doing a fabulous job. So let's relax a little bit and do a fun art with our family. I hope you're all ready with these items. We need pencil, eraser, paper, oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels, you can do crayons or color pencils. Hi Priya, how are you? Good to see you. Usha, good to see you too. Hi, this is Satvik. Satvik, hello. Glad you all joined today. We also have Kavya and Ovia here.
Hi.
To draw with me. I hope you're all ready to do today's art. So this is Lasia, good to see you. Today we are going to do a bird. Hi Shubha, good to see you. Meghna and Anjali, hello. Welcome back. So let's see who finds out what bird we are going to do today. Hi Radhika, welcome back. We're going to do a bird, and this bird is very intelligent. Hi Smriti, good to see you. This bird, what we are going to do today is green in color. Any guesses? So we are going to do a green bird. This bird is very intelligent. Let's see who finds out. Smita. Hi Smita. Parrot, Shubha. Parrot is the right answer. Radhika, Smriti, Harshini, good job. Mitra, parrot is the right answer. Yeah, Shriyans, parrot is the right answer. Meet, good job. We are going to do a parrot today, green parrot. Bhagi Lakshmi, yeah, parrot is right. We are going to do a green parrot today. Some fun facts about the parrot is parrots are the only birds that can eat with their feet. Naga, Usha, that's right. Parrot is the right answer. Satvik, parrot is right. Good job, guys. So we are going to, the parrots are the only birds who can eat with their feet. And there is a big variety of parrot which is called kakapo. That's the biggest variety of parrot. And that's the only variety of parrot that can't fly. Yeah, Kanish, we're going to do parrot today. So shall we start with our measurements? So be ready with your pencil to start with. Be ready with your pencil and eraser so that it's easier for you to erase even if you make any mistakes. I'm going to start with oil pastels just to show you clearly. Let's take our ruler and make a measurement. So I'm not exactly placing my ruler in the middle. I'm just taking my ruler a couple of inches away from the middle. I'm going to mark the dots now. So we are going to mark the top dot and have a 6 centimeters dot and an 8 centimeters dot on the same line.
18.
Vertical or horizontal? I think vertical would be better. We are going to have the head from top to bottom. Lasia, yeah, I guess vertical should be better than horizontal. Yeah, before that I would like to show what we are going to draw. This is going to be looking almost similar like that. This one I did a little long back, this kind of parrot. So we're going to try to do a similar parrot today. parrot's head, green parrot's head. Okay? Can you say the measurements again? Yeah, Naga, so I'm not exactly keeping my ruler in the middle. Meghna, yeah. So just couple of inches away towards the left. So I did 3 dots. One at the top, 6 centimeters and 8 centimeters, all on the same line. Okay? If you want, you can have an optional dot at the very bottom at 25 centimeters. That's optional. You can extend it later if you want. The very bottom is an optional one. And from the second dot here, towards the left, I'm going to do 9 centimeters from the second dot here. Okay? So there are only 5 dots in the same line. We did 4. So fourth one is optional though. You can extend it if you want. So we had one 6 centimeters and one 18 centimeters. From the second dot, I have 9 centimeters towards the left. Now for the picture. So we are going to connect the dot on the left towards the top dot. Can you zoom in? Anya, yeah. So these are my dot measurements here. This is the 6 centimeter one, 18 centimeter one. I have one 9 centimeters from the second dot. So this one is, the very last one is optional. I have it at 25 centimeters. You can extend it at a later stage too. So from this dot here, we are going to connect the top dot and we are going to extend that a little bit. So it's going to be curved. When we are connecting, it's going to be curved. And we are going to extend that all the way. It's not really curved. We are going to just extend that a little bit. Okay? And from the third dot, I'm going to have a little extension towards the down. We can extend that a little more if you want, or you can just stop it at the very bottom. There's going to be beak in the middle. So what I'm going to do here in the bottom of the curve is I'm going to make a tiny V-shaped curve. An inverted V. And I'm going to curve that a little bit at the end. Okay? The next curve is not going to be all the way till here. We are going to break it into 2 parts. So I'm going to start here and break that a little bit. This is the part 1 here. Can you wait? Anya? Yeah, I'll wait here. So we have one kind of a tiny curve here, a little longer curve. So we just did the inverted V at the end of this curve. We curved that a little bit. I'm going to do 2 parts of connection towards the bottom line. So the next part is going to be little curved all the way to the top of this connection. So we divided this into 3 parts with a small inverted V and a little extension and another curvy extension towards the beak. Okay, so from here I'm going to do a big beak here. So we are starting from the 3rd dot that we made. We are going to curve that towards the bottom and have a shallow curve. Okay. Can you wait? Yeah, Kanish, I'll wait for a moment here. So this is going to be our beak part. We're going to do the other part of the beak. A parrot's beak is very strong and sharp. It helps to open the nuts. So on the very top, we're going to have a little bend here before we curve the beak. The next curve is going to be really big. It's going to really curl. So what we are going to do is make it very smooth, do a freehand style and make this beak without any zigzag lines. We need a smooth finishing for the beak. So we are going to have a big curve all the way towards the bottom. It's going to be really curved. If you see here, it's below, it's this curve and the bigger curve has some space in between that. It's not too close. Now we are going to make the beak very sharp. We are going to join these edges and make it very sharp. Okay, so now we have this 2 parts that we made. We are going to do a line from the middle here, middle of these 2 parts. It doesn't have to be a straight line. It can be little curved. So I just joined these 2 parts. And we're going to have a tiny circle on top of its beak, like that. Okay, So whenever we are doing the drawing, make sure we are doing it very light so that it's easier for us to erase and we don't leave much thicker pencil strokes. So when we are doing the sketching, we need to go very light. So with the same lighter stroke, I'm going to have a tiny partition just beside the hole. That goes very light, so we'll be doing a lot of shading there. Also, I'm going to go a little circular around this tiny hole and make it curved like that. These are some partitions of the beak to make the color variations. Now for the eye. There's going to be round and nice eye in the second dot we made here. So I'm going to make a good round eye with this point as my starting point. This eye is going to be nice and round. Okay. There's also going to be a curve around the eye, not all the way, just till here, like the eye socket. Now we are done with our drawing. We can start with our oil pastels. So there's going to be different shades inside the parrot's head. Let's start doing the head first and then go to the beak because beak is a darker color. Let's finish off the head part first. So if you have multi shades of green, I would recommend using all of your shades. So right now I have 5 shades of green. Don't worry if you only have light green and dark green. You can always make different shades with white and different shades with adding brown to it. Adding brown to it makes it darker. Adding white to it makes it lighter. So I'm going to use different shades of green throughout the parrot's head. Okay? I'm going to start with adding little darker green. So I'm going to start with darker green. Darker green. Near the top of the beak. So we're going little thick on the top. When we are using the pastels, we need to make sure we are holding it like a knife and not hold like a point with a pointed tip. So we are going to do on a sideways with all the colorings. We are not covering the entire parrot with the same kind of green. I'm going to give different shades to show the different effects inside the head. So I'm starting with a little darker green on the top. I'm going to blend that with teal. What color are you using, Anya? I'm using dark green. Probably this is my medium green. I have even lighter green with me. So if you only have this kind of green, you can go with that and make it lighter with white. So I'm going to use teal. If you don't have teal, don't worry, you can use any shade of blue on top of this. You can always mix blue and green and make it teal. So I'm blending the edges here. And going towards the top of the head. Okay, so we are giving a lot of pressure. We don't want to smudge our artwork, so we need to keep our palm and fingers away from the paper. And the edges don't have to be smooth when we are doing the coloring. We are just leaving the edges just like that, like a rough edged color, so that we can blend that with another color on top of it. So I'm taking my dark green that I used in the front. I'm using the same color. I'm starting here. There's going to be a lot of yellow around the eyes, so I'm just leaving that area for, I'm saving that for yellow. I'm blending a little bit with teal. Blend, blend, blend. Not doing all the way though. What color are you using, Smriti? I'm using a medium green color. So it looks like this. I still have a darker green and a lighter green for it. So you can always use white and brown to make different shades. Okay. So now I'm going for the real darkest green that I have, and I'm going to join at the very end. So I'm not going to cover. I'm just leaving this area like that with the dark green. Kanish, I'm using the darkest green now. So we are using different shades of green for the head. You can always make different shades by using white and brown to make it lighter and thicker. So I'm using the darkest green at the very end. I'm also going to use a little darker area next to the eye. So I'm making it darker next to the eye. So we need to make sure we are not smudging the artwork. So we need to have our palm away from the paper. So I have this dark area on the side of the eye. I want to finish off with the dark shades first so that I can blend that with the lighter shade. So with the same dark green, on the other side of the eye, I'm going to have dark green shade. The area which is next to the eye. So we're not going inside the eye socket, just next to it. Can you wait? Yeah, Smriti, I'll wait for you here. So we did 3 shades of green until now. I have a little medium green blended with teal. So if your teal is not blended enough, you can have your green go over a little bit on top of the teal. Light colors always used to, it helps with blending with the darker color. What kind of pastels are you using? So I'm using this one. It's called Loey Cardinal. If you see here, yeah, I'm using this kind of pastel. But I think any kind of pastel should work, like pentel arts, something like that. Okay, so we used 3 shades of green till now, and I'm going to take my medium shade again, and I'm going to instead of teal, can I use red? Lasya, instead of teal, you can mix green and blue. That makes teal. So if you're using red in the middle of the parrot, it may look odd. So if you want a closer color, you can do green and do blue on top of it. That makes teal. So I'm going this way, like right to left. And make a medium green, which I used initially. Okay. So I'm just going to leave the edges rough because we are not going to complete the rest of the body. Let's come back to that later at the end. So let's finish off this area first. So now for the next part. Oops. So I'm having trouble reading your comments here. Let me see. Where did the comments go? Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to add a little bit of the same green towards the side. So with just rough strokes, also I'm going to cover the bottom here with the same kind of rough strokes. At the corners. So we can smoothen the middle a little later, but the edges can be left with these strokes. Okay? Now we are going to add some highlights. I'm having trouble reading your... Okay? Here with these strokes. Now we are going to add some... I don't know, I still couldn't see your comments here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of green on the edges of the beak. And now we are going to blend that with yellow. So I'm going to blend with yellow on top and blend it with the top colors a little bit so that it has a tinge of green on the top. And I'm going to do a lot of yellow on the leftover places at the bottom. So I'm kind of blending with the other colors. Okay. So it's okay to have a little bit of green here because that's what we want. I'm also going to cover the bottom area so when I'm doing that, I'm going towards the direction of the bottom strokes. So it's going to be very rough. Blending on the top and going all the way towards the bottom. Okay, so I have the same direction here with yellow. So we can blend them nice and smooth in the middle. We don't have to blend it at the end though. We can leave it with rough edges at the bottom. Okay. So we are not blending the bottom area though. So I'm just leaving streaks of lines, and I'm covering the white spaces with yellow here. So now I want to do dark green at the very edges, and I'm making the edges really rough like the one we did at the bottom. We're just going to leave the edges here. So we are just ending that with rough edges. So I'm using dark green here. Okay. My video is not working. Veena, yeah, it got stuck in between a little bit. Sorry about that. I hope you're able to see it now. Okay. So I'm just going to cover a little bit of space and then leave the edges really rough right there. We're not going to cover the edges. It's going to be just lines at the very end. So we blended in the middle part. We are not doing any blending as we go towards the end, because we are showing the texture of the feathers. So we are really not concerned about blending at the very bottom. Okay. So we just darkened the other side with a little dark green. So it's okay to leave the bottom with rough edges. Now I'm going to add some highlights. So if you have teal, you can use that, or you can even use brown to do that. So let me use brown. So I'm going to add, we have this area left out. So let me cover that with the medium green. So we need to make sure we are not smudging our artwork. We are keeping our palm and fingers away from the paper. So I'm going to add a little tinge of brown shades next to the eye. So after adding this dark shade, we always want to blend that with a lighter shade. So I'm adding brown tinge here, also on top of the head, So we are going to blend it after that. So these are just some highlights that we are adding. Some brown right there. You can even use teal or darkest blue to do your highlights. So I'm just using brown to do mine. So I'm highlighting that a little bit with brown. We don't have to blend that much because we are anyways going to blend it with a lighter color. So I'm adding highlights in the bottom. Okay, so when we are doing the bottom, we are not blending them too much. So we are doing some rough lines. And it's okay to have some spaces in between. Can you speed? Naga, I'm not sure what you're asking. So, do you want me to speed up a little bit or wait here for a minute? So, we are going to blend the brown a little bit here. So, I'm going to use the lightest green to do the blending. Remember, we use the light colors to soften the edges. So I'm using light green here so that the lines are not too sharp. So I'm kind of blending that a little bit on top of the brown we had. So that our highlights are not too sharp. Okay. So let's come for the eyes later. We are going to do the beak next. The beak is going to be dark brown with gray. So I'm going to start with a darker color for the beak. We are starting at the bottom with dark brown. So I'm using dark brown at the bottom of this sharp side of the beak. What color are you using? I'm using dark brown, Kanish. For the beak, I'm using dark brown. So as we are going to blend, the edges are not going to be smooth as usual. I'm going to leave the edges little rough so that we blend with the next color. We are just adding the dark portions right now. I'm using dark brown now. Only in certain areas though. So I added dark brown here. Okay. And we have some dark portion on top of the beak. So I'm going to cover this area with dark brown. On top of this tiny circle, not all the way, just this tiny portion here. dark brown. Remember the curvy portion we did here, that's going to be covered with dark brown. We are also going to blend that with a lighter shade. So this area is going to be dark brown. Also, we are going to have a tiny area, circular area next to it. I'm going to have rough dark area here with some rough edges though. Okay. So we're giving some variations in the beak here. And towards the bottom of the beak, I'm doing the same thing. Give a darker portion. Since we are using a darker color, we need to be very careful that we are not smudging the colors. Okay. So let's keep our palm and fingers away from the paper. Now we are going to blend with a light color. So I'm going to use gray here along with the dark brown. So I'm going to do light or dark gray, and I'm going to blend that with brown. So we are covering this area and the rest of the area with gray. When we are touching our darker area, we need to go on top of it a little bit so that it blends very well. So you see that those edges, this is where I'm blending them. So we're going dark there to blend with the bottom portion. Okay. So that's a gray area of the beak. We are also going to do the same color on the other two portions as well. So I'm doing the same kind of blending the rest of the area of the nose. So we need to remember that we have to blend with the dark color as we are going next to it, so that we have that tinge of dark color in our gray. That really gives a nice effect when we do the blending there. So it's the same gray going on the rest of the areas. So I'm making sure I'm not having any white spaces. and I'm making sure if I'm covering all the space. So it's okay to go on top of this darker areas to blend them a little bit. We need to have that blended effect. Okay? So I'm going to cover the rest of the area. There's only one area remaining in the beak. With the same technique, I'm applying a lot of pressure to do this and blend with the next color. Blend, blend, blend. Okay. So I'm going a little on top of the brown so that it's not too sharp and it's blended well. Now it's nicely blended. Okay. So I want to soften the darker areas with gray. So I'm kind of going on top of the brown and making it lighter. We don't want to have too dark colors. Also, we need to make sure the edges are well blended. So we have a lot of variations in our beak now. We worked a lot with our beak. Let's go for the eye. So I left this tiny little circle here because it's going to be really dark. It's going to be black. So let's come to the black at the very end. Before that, we are going to do the eye. So I'm going to do gray in the eye socket here, so that we have bright eye when we are doing the insides. So this surrounding area is going to be gray blended with green which is next to it. So this eye socket is gray. Okay. So now I'm going to add a tiny bit of dark red in the eye area. So inside the eye, I'm going to have one circle of this dark red. Not the entire eye. You're not covering the entire eye. Just on the edge. That's dark red. Okay. Shall we go for the black now? We need to be very careful when using the black. So we're going to do black for the eye. First, for the eye socket, I'm going to darken this little area with black. Okay, and inside I'm not going to cover the entire inner circle with black. We are going to leave a tiny little bit of shine inside the eye. So I'm going to leave that shine right there and cover the rest of the eye. Okay, so the rest of the eye, we need to be very careful while doing black. Make sure you're not going outside the lines. Since this is a very tiny area, it's tricky to cover that with black. Also, we need to make sure we are not keeping our palm inside the art. So we have that kind of an eye here. Okay. So before adding the shine, I'm going to do the black for the outside of the eye, outside circle of the eye. So we need to be very careful with that tiny area. We don't want to ruin anything inside the eye. So I'm darkening the edges of the eye and make it really smooth. Okay. So now for this beak area, this is going to be black as well. We are going to add some highlights here. This line in the beak, also I'm going to highlight the other side of the beak, just the edges a little bit. Also the top portion here, we had this curve, so I'm just highlighting that. I'm still using black. We need to be very careful with black. So if needed, we can highlight some of the areas with black here. If not, you can just leave it like that. So I'm going to highlight some portions of the beak with black. You can even use a really dark color like dark brown or something. Black or brown. Usha, I'm using black. You can also use brown for the highlights. Okay. So I'm also going to have, you can do dark brown if not for the black to highlight this tiny bit of line, not too thick. We are not going too thick over this line. A tiny crack. You're welcome, Usha. So if needed, we can highlight the head as well with dark brown. This is optional, or you can just leave it like that. So I'm just adding some dark brown shades and make it pop out a little more. Again, this is optional. You can just leave it if you want. At the edges, we are just going very thin. Okay. We are almost done with this. So I'm going to highlight the other side of the beak with brown. We are not using complete black border for the beak. So I'm just using a little bit of brown on the other side. Since we did black here, we don't want thick edges. Okay. So if needed, you can highlight the sides of the eye socket. So I'm also adding little streaks of brown here and there, very tiny bit of streaks. So I'm anyways going to blend that with a little bit of yellow just to add some highlights here and there. We're not going too thick though. We are almost done here. Ta-da! Okay. Is that a background? Adya, we are not going to do a background since this parrot covered almost our entire paper. We're just going to leave it like that. We are going to do our artistic signature at the bottom and finish off this parrot. Okay, so let me zoom in a little bit and show this, the detail in the eye and the beak. Okay, let's see what Kavya and Ovia have here. Whoa, that's a big parrot. Kavya, can you show? Whoa, awesome, girls. Okay. I hope everybody enjoyed today's art. So we have nice and big parrot head today. This parrot is for Harshini. Harshini requested a bird. So Harshini, this is for you. I hope everybody has your awesome parrots done. So don't forget to send your pictures in the comment. Also, let me know what you want to draw in the next classes, and we can certainly do those in one of the classes. So let me know in the comments what you want to draw. Also send me your pictures. I would like to see all of your pictures. So comment at the bottom, and let's meet on Monday at 4 p.m. again. See ya. Bye. Bye, Radhika. Bye, Harshini. Yeah, see ya.